What up, you weirdos? Fever here. How's everyone doing today? Staying out of trouble? I had a video coming out about the Master Lost sector on the Cosmodrome, but Bungie has recently disabled it, so I don't want to put one out, especially if it can't even be done. So today, we're going to go over some tips on how to solo any Master Lost sector, because I get a lot of questions about it, and helping people is honestly my favorite thing to do in Destiny. Before we get started, I need to thank everyone for all the support I've seen lately. I know I'm a really small channel and 121 subscribers might not seem like much to some people, but that's monumental to me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much. I truly appreciate it. Okay, now that I got all the mushy stuff out of the way, let's talk about the Master Lost sectors. You don't necessarily need to complete a 1280 Lost sector if you're just after the exotics. The 1250 legend versions can be farmed and they're much easier, but if you're like me and you want to complete it just to say you did, or for the triumph, then these tips will help you regardless of which one you do. Also, you can flex on your friends and say you did them, and who doesn't want to do that? As always, I try to keep in mind that not everyone has all the best weapons and mods, so I use the bare minimum, but depending on how underleveled you are, some things will make this easier. So far, it seems that all the lost sectors have barrier and overload champions dwelling in them, regardless of the modifiers. This could change in the future, but it's been 2 weeks so far, and nothing's changed yet. The seasonal artifact will be your best friend in all these activities because of the mods you can apply to your arms and the class item. I've been doing a lot of playtesting all week, and it seems the Overload Scout Rifle and Anti-Barrier Pulse Rifle mods shine the most when it comes to champions and being underleveled. Most of us have lives outside of Destiny and aren't max light level yet, so keeping our distance is a big plus, and these types of weapons help that. The mods for your class item are a must, which is Thermal Overload and Surge Eater. With Thermal Overload, your Solar or Stasis Grenade can overload champions, and when you overload a champion, either from a grenade or a weapon, Surge Eater recharges your grenade completely. This will be one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. Also, your Solar or Stasis Grenade can stun lock overload champions, if you time it just right, especially if paired with the Scout Rifle. If you're using Stasis, I have found that the base grenade you get with the subclass worked the best for me, and it helps shield me from enemies, sometimes. When it comes to the weapons and mods, I don't want to tell you a bunch of must-haves or anything like that, because these lost sectors can be done with basic gear for the most part, as long as you take your time and be patient. With that being said, there are some weapons that stand out more than others, especially when extremely underleveled, and I'm sure you've heard them all before. Weapons like the Falling Guillotine, the Anarchy, Wither Horde, and the list goes on. These weapons will make life easy for you, but there are some of the more underrated ones that you should really take a look at, like the Risk Runner, which is beautiful when it comes to Fallen and Hive, the Hard Light if you want to have every element covered, Ariana's Vow for the anti-barrier and solar damage, the Toaster, formerly known as the Jotun, is great for ad control, and the burn damage seems to negate enemies shielded by a Servitor. They all work wonders in these lost sectors, along with any decent 340 RPM pulse rifle like the Last Perdition, or a scout rifle like the Night Watch for the overloads. You have snipers like the Supremacy and Long Shadow that work well, but there isn't a mod on the artifact that caters to snipers and champions, so I avoided them. You can do builds with the Ikilos SMG for the arc and barrier damage, but if you have the proper Warmind mods, you can make it do solar damage as well. If you look at the modifiers before going into the sector, it'll tell you what type of enemies are in it, and that'll give you an idea of what shields will be in there. Usually, Vex have Void and Arc, Hive have Arc and Solar, Fallen have had Arc and Void in these sectors so far. For the mods, I found Concussion Dampener, Resilience, and Recovery to help you stay alive, and the Dampener for splash damage. Discipline so you can get your grenade back faster in case you missed your overload grenade. If you do have charge with light builds, use them, they always help. When you enter these lost sectors, don't go in there guns blazing. Take a moment and look around the room at all your options first before aggroing the enemies. Look for angles, and once you've found some good spots, work your way around the room and clear all the small ads first. Almost like sectioning off a room into pie slices. If you do that, you can focus all your time on the champion without worrying about some low-level ad. I died too many times from a shank and it's a bit degrading, trust me. All these lost sectors are the same. Room full of ads and a champion or two. Once you clear that room, move on to the next room with more ads and champions. Once you kill all the ads, you can bait the champions back to fight them on your terms, unless they're being difficult, but 8 out of 10 times, you can get them to chase you. Once you make it to the boss fight, don't try to melt it because you still have to clear ads. If you do too much damage right away, you'll spawn more ads, which usually includes another champion. You don't want to melt the boss and have 4 champions chasing you, or maybe you do. I had 2 chasing me at once and I think I peed a little, but we're not going to talk about that anymore. Also, the lost sectors appear to award you the same way Ordeal Nightfalls do, which means clearing all the champions out as well. I know most of the stuff I'm telling you is basic information, and I've said some of it before, or that I'm making it sound like this is the hardest content out there, but everything I talk about applies to Grandmaster Nightfalls and any other hard activity in the game. If you can get into a groove of soloing Master Lost sectors while playing around with different loadouts, it'll help you when trying to solo 100k Nightfall, or possibly dungeons. I will be putting out more detailed videos covering specific builds for every class, but I wanted to get everyone the basics first because don't forget, we have a lot of new Guardians out there, and ultimately, my end goal is to help everyone I can. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, but more importantly, just be a good person to one another, and have a fantastic day. Thank you.